Hello, guys. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Daily Teachings. All right, guys. So, a big red day in the market. Big red day in the market, but we were ready. We were ready. We were short. We took a little bit of time in first 10-15 minutes to figure out the trend. But after that, we were, the market just faded all day. There was not a long. If you struggle today, if you try to buy the dip, then watch this video. If you struggle, you went long and you lost, watch this video. Even and if you're short but you missed the home runs, then watch this video. So this will be in one of the playlists. When we making the profits on the red day, we have done it hundreds of times before. There's hundreds of recaps on a short day. That's the beauty of our system. We make on the downside, we make on the upside. So anyways, so that being said, guys, let's do a quick introduction. Then we'll start the recaps. I'll try to keep the introduction pretty small. So guys, all these teachings, all these educations that are, all the teachings and all these trade recaps are either from mostly from our community or from my Twitter or X accounts or anything I share on YouTube. We trade a repeatable system, the repeatable system called Ripster EMA Cloud system, that thousands of traders across the world use to trade consistently. We trade repeatable setups. Setup is what you trade, system is how you trade. Every day we repeat those repeatable setups day in and day out based upon our system, right? Again, the system is how you trade, setup is what you trade. So every morning, me and my team, we create a game plan for the day, which includes any news plays, it includes any earnings, any upgrades, downgrades, and it also includes any index stocks which have a news, like NVDA or Tesla or Apple. So we have a plan for everything. So this is our initial game plan. I usually highlight anything which I feel important. I highlight it as a red, which is less important, not to focus. I don't, it's still, everything is still important. You just need to go through the game plan. I make it live 30 minutes to 10 minutes before the market open. I make it live in the community so everybody can be ready as the market open, right? So we'll go through that. We'll go through each trade and we'll work through that. But in addition to that, we also provide levels for futures. You can trade the futures based upon the levels I provide, and then you can watch EMA Cloud system to trade that. We provide the levels for levels for the so we provide these crypto levels as well, so that you can use to trade consistently with EMA Cloud system and using the crypto levels. So in addition to this crypto levels, which includes all the crypto stocks, coin MSTR, CLSK, Mara, we also have something called day 2, day 3 repeatable strategy. These are the tickers. This is a strategy that I did free webinar on. You can choose again. You can use our support resistance levels and use our concepts, our repeatable setups that we trade every day to trade on your own. Our focus in the community is to make everybody a self-dependent trader based upon the resources we provide and my education that, of course, I've been providing for free for years and still provide free for years, so that I can enable the traders to make their own decisions based on these repeatable systems. In our community, we have 3-4 option flow scanners. We have a stock scanner, we have breaking news alert, couple of breaking news alert, audio squawk alert, support resistance alerts. We have Bookmap. We have the tools which are worth $600-700 outside, which is part of our community. Anyways, there's thousands of traders on our trading floor every day, trading, sharing the trades and sharing the market guidance all day long, trying to help each other to make to make some money in the market, keeping our losers small, our winners big. That's always our focus. I'm usually on voice first few hours of the market open, trading our morning setups. Any trade I don't take, still guiding the traders through our setups and our game plan that we had in the morning. In addition to that, I'm around all day, giving out the updates on the markets, on any stocks, which we are and where our stops are. So basically guiding the traders through the trades, making sure we are making the right decision. For example, today my guidance all day was not to buy the dips. So anyways, that being said, let's start with the recap. All right, so let's look at our first was how did the market treat us today? So what were we doing what were we doing on the market? Like, how did we decide? So this morning when we came in, there was kind of bunch of. So this morning we came in, right? So we always review the macro news, what's happening. We often tweet out this market wake up summary. You must read it. So what's happening in the market? So this morning, Chinese company were added to the blacklist due to export restrictions. And then we also had President Trump saying that there won't be too many exceptions on April 2. So there was a bunch of those negative headlines. And then NVIDIA had regulations that if China puts some regulations on NVIDIA, that will hurt NVIDIA. Tesla, Canada freezed Tesla's rebate payments. And, there was a bunch of negative news on the market today. So like we have always been talking, guys, we are in a macro risk environment. You should never ignore that. The Trump can always flip-flop. We were not out of the woods yet. Yes, we were recovering. Yes, we were trading long. Yes, we had a couple of swings. But again, at the end of the day, market still is not immune to the tariffs. And market was expecting some leniency. But what market is getting that it's actually no leniency, right? So there was a lot of triggers in the market, in the pre-market, we were bearish, and the semiconductors were really selling off hard, which took down the market. And then we had some more bearish news during the day. So basically it was all day short, right? So none of us in the community were long anything intraday. None of one was looking for the dips. Simply short all day, either short the pops, watch the curls, short the failed curls. That was the plan. There was not a single long setup at least on the market. Yes, we tried to long Disney at the open. That didn't work. We'll cover that. But most of our plays, was all short side, because when market is heavy, you need to look for the short setups. When market is selling off, you need to look at short setups. You need to use VIX strategy. You need to use Ripster EMA Cloud system to stay short all day. Before I go into the in-depth, what the Ripster Cloud shows you. You saw that we became bearish right here. And then not a single time did Ripster Clouds labels, use those labels. They never turn bullish. You want to be long when both are bullish, or at least one is bullish, then you can long the curls. But you see, there was no signal to long. There was this fake curl which failed, and that's actually a short setup. We'll talk about all that. So let's see how we started the day. In the start of the day, we were not really clear how the day is going to be, because we had a strategy on VIX. So VIX initially showed weakness. It was kind of very trappy. Right, so the plan was this: if VIX breaks 17, we will be bullish on the market. But if VIX holds 17, then we will short the market. So that's the simple strategy. And as VIX breaks key pivots to the upside, we will short the key pivots to the downside on the SPY, QQQ, or even if you are trading Nasdaq or S&P futures, you will short it. So initially, I mentioned the short scalps, that we can do the amateur short scalps, right? It's all the amateur move. You have to understand amateur move. Today, somebody new trader, he was getting a little pissed off because he doesn't understand amateur move. So we were shorting the amateur move. I told everybody to short the amateur move, and because amateur move can be turned into trend move, but the real move comes in the trend move. And there are a few concepts that we have to watch: VIX concept, pre-market highs, pre-market low concept, and you have to watch the amateur and trend move concept. You can take a trade. If it doesn't work, you get out, right? So definitely we were not long. We were looking to long, because this first candle was amateur candle, you see there. So amateur candle was not telling us anything. Based on this amateur candle, I told the traders to short it. I was also, then SPY was a little stronger, but then when SPY started to bounce, QQQ started to bounce, I told the traders, cut your shorts over the cloud, watch VIX 17. That means if VIX breaks down under 17, you cut your shorts, right? Even if you cut it before that, that's fine. But look what happened next. SPY rejected the pre-market highs. QQQ failed the clouds. The big golden principle is if the market is not trading over the opening price, pre-market highs or yesterday highs, you should not long it. Mostly, that's an A plus setup that when it goes over that. So both cases were bearish. On top of that, Magnificent Seven were bearish. I have my sector analysis tab. You see that Big Seven, they were bearish. And you can go back and there's a big watch list on the red day trades, and you should watch that for sure and see how these are all the same concepts I repeat again and again and again. So this was the reject, and this is when I said rejected pre-market highs, QQQ rejected, and you can reshort it, and then we'll use the bias, right? So you can reshort the market, although I personally was more shorting the semiconductors than the market. But when the semiconductors are weak, Mag 7 are weak, market is going to go lower. You should not just blindly look at one of your stocks, right? You should not blindly look at one of your stocks and just say that I want to buy this, I want to buy this. Because you buy here, okay, so you buy here, you pop here, and then you drop. You lose money. You try to buy here, you lose money. All day you are just losing money. And guess what? You get emotionally charged, because the problem is when you try to buy, then you start revenge trading. You said, oh, maybe this time it bounces. Or you try to revenge trade short with the tiny stop, and then you panic and then you cover, right? So all that, you start to go on a downhill curve. Then when you start to dip buy on a red day, what is your checklist? My checklist: VIX is strong, SPY is trading under 512, SPY is trading under 3450, Mag 7 is weak. I'm not going to long. I don't care. Your mentality should be, I don't care. The SPY or market can bounce 10 points. I don't give it an S, because it's not my system. So let me show you something. So let's go there. Let's see. The reason I try to teach this again and again and again, because I have been there, right? And I have made millions, lost millions in day. But these things will save you a lot of pain if you focus. Okay, so let's see here, right? So anyways, we'll talk about our shorts later. But if you see that I tweeted that just looking for a longs when something sold off, you think it's too low, you should bounce. It's not a repeatable strategy. You try to long twice and stop out both times on any pullback. When it actually bounces, you make a little bit, but will still be red, right? So because I know the people are going to do this mistake, because nothing is too low. We can keep going down. Look at the ATR. So that's when I said, right? And look what happened here. You try to long here, FOMO long here, you bagged on the lotos. My system said no long, so we are not long. You have a no system, that's why you're longing it. Why? Because you think there's an opportunity. No, there's an opportunity not today, some other day then. Because you will lose money today, you will lose money tomorrow. When then actually there's a day where you want to be long, you will not do anything because you already lost money on a day like today, because there was no setup. So you continuously see that I show what I say, and how we do it. We use our Ripster EMA Cloud system. Make a golden rule. Tell yourself, I'm not going to long anything under 3450 or under 512 clouds, or just use EMAs. You don't even have to use the clouds, right? Look here. Then we started to break bear flags. I sent an alert, bear flag break, bear flag break. You see that we flushing there. So never a hindsight, everything real time, because we are breaking down. And then you can see that another I said that VIX is over MTF cloud. You see that? That means market is going to go lower. I just had a one bear flag breakdown, and then we came with another bear flag breakdown, right? I said hold them shorts. We will have bear flags and we will go lower. So what market was showing you today was just a bear flags. Bear flags all the way, right? So I've been talking about that since morning. 512 bearish. We rejected pre-market high, bearish. Hold them shorts, bear flag, and we go lower. Bear flag, we go lower, right? Bear flag, we go lower. Here's some bear flag alerts. Market still bear flags at around 1 p.m. Bear flag, go lower. Second bear flags, and then a fake curl and lower. And then what? You see this ATR? So we met that 100% ATR there. We met a 100% ATR on QQQ. So when you don't know your targets, always use ATR as your target. That how low can we go? So literally the traders in the community made literally 400 500% gains. If you want to look at let's look at this. We can look at 489 puts. Let's look at 489 puts, right? Because let's look at 489 puts. Oh no, these are the calls. We want to look at the puts. Let's see here. So they literally went from $1 to $6, like 500%. Your $1,000 you turn into $5,000, right? Because even if you don't really have to trade the options, you can trade the leverage ETFs, right? So when you reshort, so initially when I gave the QQQ short, let's see what I said. I said 493, right? I said 493 short. When we tried to swipe back over 493, I said we cover if we get over the clouds, but we did not really get over the clouds. It was amateur move and it was a trend move. So that 493 short, yes, I said don't scalp over the clouds, but did we go over the clouds? No, right? So you have to make that judgment call and see what's happening. And those who know, they are taking the shorts and killing it in the community. And then you risk 493 still, and look how much you made. Even if you risk $1, you made $7-8 on the QQQ short, right? If you were trading NASDAQ futures, you made learn futures, right? If you trade NASDAQ futures, you sold it and you made over 400 points there, right? You long semiconductor leverage ETF, SOXS, SOXS. MTF Cloud all day ran $2. There's so many ways to make money when market goes down, guys. Put options, futures, leverage ETF longs. You don't even have to short them. You go leverage ETF, inversely ETFs long. So if you read today, do not get dejected. Just take it out of your system. For us, why? I could have lost a lot of money today, right? If I try to long, not even a single long I touched. We touched the Disney long in the morning, but we don't even a single long we touched. And and this kind of flush doesn't give me a sense, oh, there's going to be a bounce and I'm going to have a trade. No, I don't even think about it. Your mind is going to tell you, hey, buddy, market has sold sold so much, it's going to bounce, there's an opportunity. Then you're going to tell your mind to shut the F up because there's not really an opportunity because that's not your setup. That is not your setup. Make a golden rule. Thousands of traders who have made these golden rules have listened to my teachings. See, money's saved is a money made. I don't care you don't short. I don't really care. But if you can save the money on day like today, that's big. If you're swing trading, cut under MTF clouds. If you're day trading, cut under the regular Ripster clouds, 512s, 3450s, have some system. Because if you did not cut at the top, you will cut when you don't cut when the pain is small, but you will cut when the pain is really, really, really big. So that's what so rather cut when pain is small than waiting for when the pain is, you cannot tolerate the pain. So very important, guys, and watch the playlist on YouTube, which explains every time the market sells off, right? So it's pretty clear, and you simply do not long when VIX keeps going on. You simply do not long the index stocks, the Mag 7s, right? These are index stocks. Today, even the growth stocks were going down because it was an overall bearish sell-off, right? Look at the other indicators. How many stocks are gaining? How many stocks are declining? How many stocks are advancing, declining? There's breadth. There's so many tools that you can use, which a trader fails to realize, and he keeps trading randomly, fully focused on just one ticker, right? Fully focused and not looking at the market overall, high level, right? Even a kid can see the trend and know it's a bearish trend all day. Use the system. System is free, has changed thousands of lives. Go to Ripster Education. Look at how the traders are, changing their lives with the system. The indicators are free. My education is free. Yes, if you want to join the community, feel free to join the community. No problem. We have all the webinars there. I'm on live all day there. But make sure you make these changes because there's no excuse. There's simply no excuse because we have to accept that something is wrong with our approach. That our outcomes are direct result of our behavior, not the market. that our focus is more making money than mastering the process. Because you're trying to make money, that's why you're trying to bounce it, because you don't have a process. And you think, okay, because market is down, oh, it will bounce. Yeah, what is the system? What system tells you it's a bounce? If your system tells you it's a bounce, then you have a wrong system. Our system doesn't tell it's a bounce, right? So you need to first focus on mastering the process. And then you need to realize you are on self-destructive behavior that you need to fix. I have done that too, right? You get aggressive. You buy here, it doesn't work, you buy more, then you try to short in anger, and the short doesn't work, then you say maybe the buy works this time. You are just on a downward spiral, the self-destructive timer bomb that you keep going on. So don't do that, my friends. So next time market sells off, be ready. Do not try to buy the dips. Save your money. Money saved is money made. Hopefully this video helped you out. The focus was not just to show you that how we shorted the market all day under my guidance, but focus was to make sure that you guys learn how not to burn your accounts on a day like today. VIX strategy, clouds, simple market analysis. Use it. It will come you handy. All right. Thank you. Next one. All right. Before I go to our main plays, we were short today, let's just look at the whole entirety of the Magnificent Seven. Right? When the market is weak, you take the Magnificent Seven and find the weakest ones and you short them. So what was Google doing? Let's look at the Google game plan. Right? So what's the game plan? Without game plan, there's nothing. So Google meant was that trade versus the MTF. Check the daily sheet. The levels on Google were pretty clear. Here's our daily sheet, 168.50, 167.37. MTF breaks down. That's a short. That's not a long. It faked out a long. That's fine if you try to long here, but you re-short it all the way down to the ground. There was one long here. This was a C minus. This was a C minus long because the clouds are a little far away. If you're long here, you still have time to get out because it's a failed curl. But if you long here, then we have a problem because it's a failed curl and the market is heavy as well at the same time. SPY is heavy. So anyways, that was Google. Let's look at Amazon. Amazon fade to the MTF. Once the MTF breaks, that's it, right? It tried to bounce on MTF for a bit, but once it failed the MTF, that was it, right? So Meta was amazing short in the community today. The MTF clouds were closer. The 20 MTF, you take the short right away on Meta, and and with the market heavy, there are so many opportunities, right? Even if you are not shorting the main stocks, right? You can short these individual names, and that's what the community does, right? So you can see that our support resistance and our cloud system helps us to trade these levels flawlessly, right? So let's look at Meta here. You see that traders were shorting Meta all day, right? Just killing it. Traders were short on Amazon. You can look at the Amazon. So there were all the shorts that were Raga was short on Amazon. So those are the setups you can trade, and you have to avoid this bounce. Buying here, it's not what I do. I don't buy here. I don't really care. Even here, I would look for more verification before I try to buy here. And look at the failed curls, and I'll reshort those failed curls. Failed curls, reshort. Initial bounce failed, MTF failed, reshort. So learn these concepts, guys. Apply these concepts. Repeatable. Look how they will work. If you lose once or twice, you will lose $1, but when you'll make a bunch of dollars. It's all about risk reward. Keeping the loser small. We will lose. But when we make a lot. Look at the system today. All you had to do was to hold these setups. All right, so let's go to our star play of the day today, NVIDIA. So it was not just only NVIDIA. It was the whole semiconductors, which we were short. Let's see if I can talk about the whole semiconductor was short. Initially, I saw the weakness in NVIDIA. I did see the weakness in NVIDIA, but then I also noticed the weakness in other semiconductors because AMD was kind of strong right at the open. AMD was really kind of amateur move was trapping. I was like, what's going on there? But then semiconductors gave up. So how do you trade semiconductors? You short SOXL at MTF clouds, short all day, right? Or you long SOXS, right? Long SOXS. So semiconductors, SOXS, Long, you can see that I mentioned as so XS long, and you see it all day trend, long here, you know, so you can long that, and or you can short the individual semiconductor's name. Look at AVGO. I mean, AVGO sick. Top watch still heavy. AVGO, I mean, it's insane sell off there. You see that, you know, we trade AVGO every day. We provide the AVGO levels because you need to know if a sector is heavy, what all you can short. And AVGO was the most heavy sector. I mean, look at this daily candle. I mean, the lotos literally went 300-400% if you were trading options, and all you had to risk was $2-3, and you made, you know, $7-8-9. So that was AVGO. That was Taiwan Semi. AMD kind of trapped the longs. Even if you were long, we were looking at it, but you get out under the cloud and you short it, and everything broke back under the MTF clouds. The day before yesterday, we were trading the MTF longs, and now these MTFs were shorts. So see, the MTFs serve a different purpose than the regular clouds. MTF also serve as a support resistance and higher level trend frames because it's a daily clouds, and these are the 1 hour clouds. So anyways, so those were all the semiconductor shorts. Now we can talk about so now we can talk about our NVIDIA all-day short winner, right? So I just showed you about the semiconductor. You know, we track the semiconductors. We track it in many ways. We look at, you know, semis or sector analysis. I can see that semis are down. I can see that if I go to my sector analysis, I see that the semiconductor is at the bottom of the barrel right here. So those are the shorts. That's why semi is heavy. But let's go back and review the news, right? So what was the news on NVIDIA? Barron had a cautious view on NVIDIA. China environmental regulations could hurt NVIDIA. And NVIDIA was gapping down. I don't really need to look much. NVIDIA was gapping down. So what did I say? Bearish to neutral bias. Watch other semis. If NVIDIA heavy, it can take other semiconductors down. So that's what I meant, right? If NVIDIA heavy under MTF, watch for 5 to 12 curls if semi is bullish. But what happened? We broke the level, rejected the clouds, semis became bearish, and we became short on NVIDIA. So let's see how we traded NVIDIA, right? So right at the open, we have to use the cloud system, right? So we got to use the cloud system. Let me make it a little bigger so you can see the guidance. As soon as I see the rejections on the clouds, I said short. Swipes back a little back up, that's fine. Then I tell everybody to put your stops at 118.80. It's barely initial stops is high of the candle, but once you reject here, you know, our stop is 118.80. It's barely like less than $1 stop. And then the flow starts to coming in, bearish flow, and I tell everyone to you know, hold your puts. Moved the stops down, then we cover 40% and by 10 a.m. But we have to watch our ATR, average to range. The stock can always trade is full ATR. So from there on, we were just trading the ATR. NVIDIA 76% ATR, moved the stops down to 116.70, 116.50. So we did that, and then as it started to fade, we kept moving the stops down. There was no reason to touch NVIDIA long, nor did any one of us did, right? Market weak, sector weak, option flow bearish, system cloud weak, A plus short, no reason to touch. Our final stop was 115 short stop, and even that didn't hit. We were short. I mean, it curled at 113.50. But if you see where we shorted it at 118, we got a $5 per share short. And if you look at NVIDIA options, I mean, guys, look at this. I mean, you know, you need to learn a system. Today, somebody was getting pissed off. He doesn't understand the amateur move, and he was telling me, "Hey, Rip, you said cover the shorts over cloud." I mean, guys, you have to see how this works, right? Look at the system. If you master the system, you don't need to be dependent on me, not to anybody else. You can be control of your own destiny, right? Look at NVIDIA puts, man. They went from 40 cents to $2. Your $400 became 2,000. All you had to show the patience. All you had to do was just listen to the stops I'm giving it. You know, so this time you're listening to me, but next time you're doing the same thing that I'm teaching you. right? So there was a NVIDIA all-day fade, and you could literally risk $1,000 and literally made 4 or 5 grand on NVIDIA today. Either your puts or you're in, you can also be in the leverage ETF long, that is NVDS. So you can see that, right? You can long it, $26, easy, stress-free money, right? Even though it moves $1 or $2, but you still make money. All right, so let's look at the next one. So next one we're gonna look at is ARM. Again, my focus was all semiconductors, guys, and I'm going to show you again my timestamp guidance. The reason I focused on ARM and NVIDIA because they both had news. They both were red. We both have the news. So Qualcomm had some news about a legal fight with ARM, and it was a gapping little down. So the plan was only long if MTF clouds hold. A lot of resistance and gap fill under 123 or 1 hour MTF. Right, so it was 123. There was a gap here. You see that there's a gap from yesterday, Monday, weekend gap, right? So weekend gap. If I show you on the daily chart on ARM, there was this weekend gap. You see this? Do you see this weekend gap? Of course, that was what I meant to say, and I knew that if it's weak, it's gonna go into that gap. Now look at ARM, guys. Literally look at this trade. I mean, look at this fade. Right at the short. I mean, it was a short right at the open. I was a little late, but you were supposed to short it right at 123s with the market. We short it a little later at, little 122.50s. But as soon as we short it, then 121st target, we hit our 120 target. You can see that. Then we wait for full ATR. Use the Ripster ATR indicator if you want. 40% ATR left, then 82% ATR left. Then we hit let's see here. Okay, hold on. This is wrong. Something's wrong here. ARM. Oh, I think the ATR went to the. Okay, let's go here and see here. Yeah, so ARM ended up trading 133% of its ATR, right? So you can see that 133% of ATR. So as it fades, you just use the clouds to hold it, right? You can see that how I'm moving the stops down. ARM stops 119.50, ARM stops 118, right? So we keep moving those stops down, 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 down. And this bounce is not a long, it's a short. I did say that most of the short was covered here. A lot of people left, made enough money, but there's more money to be made today because VIX never stopped. And that's why I said only runners left. Even if you left runners, right? Let's say you are on a short on the puts and you have puts and you left some puts there. Even that's fine. Let's see here. Let's look at 120. We can look at 120, 121 puts, right? So those 121 puts, let's look at here. On the 121 puts, they were, although not that liquid, they went from like $1 to $6. You can always get out of those, and then you can roll your profits into the further ones, right? So how many they traded? There not too much liquidity on ARM, but if you look at the options, they went from $1 to $3. You made $2 grand. You can always leave some, because if you leave some, even if you left 2 contracts, you made just $600-700 extra. So that's why I always say leave the runners with the system. So that's why you get home run, right? If you were short the shares, you short the MTF cloud break, and then you fill this daily gap I mentioned and hold it all the way. You see that nowhere I told anybody to get out fully. Nowhere did I tell anybody to buy long. It was always a short. If you were the person who was buying long here, I feel sorry about you, but you can change it. It's not too late yet. Do not buy the bearish trend. All right, so next one we're going to look at is Tesla. So let's see here, Tesla. So Tesla as well this morning, no long was a short versus 284. My personal focus was more on other trades, but the traders killed Tesla today. Let's see the guidance in the pre-market. If 238 holds, we will long. No go under 238. Bullish to neutral, 300 big spike. So right, so 283, the level I gave. 283 broke right away. Never could push over the clouds. And remember, the market is weak, right? That's why I said no longs, short scalps okay. 284, the candle never pushed over the 284. You could short again versus 284. We thought that it's pushing over that, reclaiming the clouds. If we reclaim the clouds, no short over that. But look here, it failed the clouds, and this was the amateur move. It failed the clouds, and then the same risk you use and reshort it and fade all the way back down, right? You just have to watch the market. And then this bounce, not interested, failed curls, reshorted to the MTF clouds. This is where people lose money. They try to chase the things here. They add, and they lose money and they get out. So don't be that guy. I had no interest. Even if this pop, I had no interest, because look at the overall market. Market is still heavy. VIX is still strong. We are trading under the clouds. Option flow is bearish. I have no reason to be long, right? So that's why the Tesla today, mainly it was by the community traders today. Amazing trading on Tesla by Alan and a lot of other traders there. Beautiful trading by Alan and all of them. So we had few losers today in the community. DLTR, our earning play, we tried to short it, but it didn't work. Let's see here. Short under MTF, long over it, bearish bias, right? So as the first scan, again, see, my most shorts are amateur moves. You don't have to trade amateur moves. So this amateur move, we shorted it. I told everybody to short the pops and short the pops, and that's fine. You short the pops at 268. It was rejecting, but then it pulled over 68. I said, close the short. It's bullish now. So that became a long. So take a loser on the short, but if you took the bullish, it went $5, right, from the MTFs, right? So bullish over MTF, short under MTF, and there's a confluence of cloud. You can see that RGV was on top of it, guided the community long, from 69 all the way to $73, right? So it was a beautiful trade by RGV in the community on DLTR. That was a short loser, long winner. So we always change our bias. So there was a bunch of other shorts today. Remember, we had a big run recently. So all those big runners give up when the market tanks. Always remember that. APP was one of them, break the clouds. PLTR was one of them, broke the clouds. Let's see here. APP. Yep, APP, I told everybody are the good shorts early at 950. And you can see that even since I told them, both of them faded from 95 to 90. And PLTR faded as well. And then we also had our CVNA, which was our day 3 short. You can see that CVNA, I highlighted as a red because it has a good range. And then CVNA also faded all day long under the MTF cloud. Fade, beautiful fade. So that was CVNA short as well. So there were so many opportunities to go short. You see, there's very few longs I mentioned today because this is not the market to long today. Let's look at a long. So what happened when we long something? So we long Disney long idea, and when market is heavy, we know it's not going to work because market is heavy. The high probability is on the short side. So I told everyone with Disney is breakout on the daily long, and because that was our plan. On Disney, you see there, bullish bias to long, no go under. But we tried to long the 101.90. When it broke 150, we took a 50-60 cents loss and moved on. Because this was the amateur move, there's no use holding all the way down. You could make your money back on shorting it. But the long is definitely not working once we do not bounce here. And at the same time, SPY QQQ is heavy. So that was Disney. That was Disney, loser of the day. Hopefully you guys learned a lot today, and make sure you watch the previous videos on Red Market Day as well. Then you will learn a lot. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.